All right. We are going to have a great call today. We are going to be talking about the importance of exercise. So unfortunately, Crystal, who is supposed to be on the call, she was not able to make these times anymore. So she will not be on this call or next call, but we're actually bringing another special guest on next call that we'll talk about at the end of this one.
Should we tell them who it is?
We'll tell them at the end.
Right,
yeah. Why don't we tell them? So let's go over this call, the importance of exercise, which we've broken this into kind of three topics. I'm going to be talking about kind of the cardiovascular exercises. Thomas is going to be talking about the lifting. And then we're also going to talk about some of the products that are our favorites to give you the best results and optimize your workouts. So first, at the beginning of every call, we announce the winner of the last week. So we picked randomly the winner of the participants, and we have a winner of Martha Miller. So congratulations. I hope you enjoy your daily pre and probiotic. The SiselGUT Essentials are amazing products. And so I hope you enjoy this free one. All right. So let's go into the call, the importance of exercise. And this is key. And then next week, we're going to be talking about nutrition. They usually say that it adds up to about 80% nutrition, 20% exercise. That 20% is crucial. So let's talk about how you can maximize it. All right. So like I said, I am going to be talking about cardio, and I've broken it down into three different types of cardio. So we have high intensity interval training. We have moderate intensity continuous training, which is MICT. The high intensity interval training is HIIT, and then MIIT, the moderate interval or moderate intensity interval training. So let's go through the first one. HIIT is what they call it, high intensity interval training, HIIT. So this is bursts of short bursts of intense exercise. So they kind of say that the high intensity should be about 80 to 90% of your max heart rate. And so your max heart rate is 220 minus your age. So I'm 27 years old. So mine would be 193 would be my max heart rate. And then I want to be during these workouts, about 80 to 90% of that 193 heart rate. And you can check your heart rate they have different measuring tools, but also just by checking your pulse. If you check your pulse for 10 seconds, times it by 6, then you have your heart rate. So high intensity intervals means that you are doing extreme intense workouts for really short periods of time, but they're followed by a recovery period where you can rest. So imagine these are like sprints. Actually, I think we have some examples on here. So this is like running or riding your bike really fast for 30 seconds, then resting for 30 seconds. Or doing a stair climber really fast for 30 seconds, then resting for 30 seconds. Or jump rope really fast for 30 seconds, then resting for 30 seconds. Or burpees. This is where you stand up, then go to a squat position, then to a plank, and then jump back up and do this for 30 seconds, and then rest for 30 seconds. So you're doing the equivalent to the workout in the same resting period. So you're getting that really quick burst. So one of the biggest benefits from this, and I know that you'll see it all out in the market of what's the most effective way to lose weight. And the research that I've done, I find this is the most effective way to lose weight. And I kind of explained it in previous calls because there has been some studies that show when you release cortisol, then your body holds on to body fat. But if you're getting rest periods, then your body's not releasing cortisol as much as it would through the long continuous workouts. And so your body's allowing to lose fat. It's not going into a survival state when it's releasing cortisol, saying we need to hold on to all of this fat just in case we're doing this high intensity for hours and hours. We're going to hold on to these fat stores for energy and use them up later. But if you're giving yourself that rest period, then you're able to let your body know it can burn the fat cells without going into a survival mode. So some of the key benefits for high intensity interval training is it's really efficient in fat loss. It's also very efficient in time. So I know this more than anyone now that I have a baby. I used to be able to go to the gym for an hour, 2 hours. I was totally fine to be at the gym and get a long workout in. Now, if I'm there for more than 30, 40 minutes, my wife thinks that I'm just hanging out with Thomas, talking and having fun on my phone. And so I have a shorter amount of time to get a workout in. And so these high intensity intervals are the best to squeeze into those tight schedules. These also boost cardiovascular health. They also, one thing that they have seen is that it improves your metabolism for hours after you exercise. So as I looked more into this, so this is because of excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. So you also see that abbreviated with EPOC. So this means that your body, after it has this high energy expenditure, it's trying to get back into the state that you were pre-workout. And so through that state of trying to recover your body, you're burning calories and your body is working a lot more to get back to that previous state. And so that's why you're seeing for hours higher metabolism as your body's trying to return to that state that it's not used to. All right. So the second one, we have moderate intensity continuous training. So this one is going to be that steady, continuous, prolonged period. This is really like jogging at a moderate pace for 20 to 30 minutes. Now, I say moderate because that's not sprinting for 20 to 30 minutes. That's a very consistent pace. That's going to be swimming for 20 or 30 minutes. You could even go hiking. That's long hikes. That's brisk walks, kayaking, any type of those activities that it's not bursts of energy. Kind of thinking of more of soccer, less of football. Football is more, you have a 5 to 10 second window. That's that high intensity interval, but then you have a break in between hikes. The soccer is going to be those 45 minutes of continual jogging, but you're not resting and you're not also sprinting. I guess soccer, not the biggest soccer player. I guess they sprint a little bit, but that really continuous prolonged workout. So some of the benefits. So this one is really good if you're trying to enhance endurance. So if you're trying to train for something that's going to require something really long, endurance wise, then this is really good to train for. And so you're not going to see many of those football players running for 5-6 miles because that's not what they're used to. That's not what they're training for. And so like where we talk about, we go hiking in the fall a lot for miles and miles. So if we were just doing high intensity workouts, then we would be completely winded after 5-10 minutes. Not to say that we aren't already because the elevation that we're already climbing, but this type of workout really helps you enhance your endurance to go a lot longer. It really improves cardiovascular fitness to help with that endurance. And one thing that they say is this is really more suitable for beginners. And it's a lot easier on joints. If you have joint concerns, it's a little easier on your body than those really quick bursts of high intensity. You can kind of pace yourself. And that's the other benefit is that you can really track a steady pace. It's hard to track a steady pace and kind of monitor your pace when you're doing sprints or when you're doing quick stair climbers or jump rope because it's all high intensity. But when you're jogging, say you're on a treadmill, you can track if you're jogging at a 7 speed or if you're jogging at a 4 speed or 5 speed, and you can adjust your intensity. And this one also kind of really allows you to ramp it up, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. The next one is moderate intensity interval training. So this one is going to be kind of a mixture of both. You're doing the interval, which is, the on and off, but it's continuous and it's moderate, or not continuous, it's moderate. So an example would be like 2 minutes of brisk walking, or moderate jogging followed by a 1 minute slower walk, repeated for 30 to 45 minutes. And so this is also, I think that's okay. There we go. So this one is also more suitable for beginners. So when you're looking at high intensity, this is a lot of expert level people that have been exercising for years and are trained to do it. The moderate intensity, interval or continuous, you kind of work your way up from this being the first level. Like when I go jogging, if I'm jogging a mile or two, I'm not continuously jogging that 1 or 2 miles when I first start jogging. Like I'm going to jog for 5 minutes. I'm going to walk for a minute and then I'll get my wind and I'll jog for 5 minutes. That's more of that moderate intensity interval training. And then as you continue to get a little better, you're kind of out of that beginner stage. Then you might make it a goal to jog at a slower pace, but jog that mile without stopping. And that's where it kind of gets more into the moderate interval continuous training. And then as you get better at that, you can start putting the high intensity workouts into your workout routine. So some of the benefits from moderate intensity interval training. So it's less intense than the high intensity, but it's more dynamic than the continuous moderate training. This still improves your fitness, but it is a lot easier on your joints compared to the high intensity. And so if you do have joint concerns, then this is a great option for you to look at. And then this is really suitable for people that want that balance of sustainability. Because also sustainability, you have to think when you're doing these workouts, I've been a victim to this as well, where I will go into the new year with high hopes and I will try to sprint a mile for 2 or 3 days. And then I get so exhausted and get kind of burned out and discouraged from it that I end up in the past, I've also quit jogging because I get discouraged from it. And so these starting off with the interval moderate and then working your way up is a lot more sustainable for the people that are just starting to get into cardio exercises. So in comparison, high intensity interval training, this is very high intensity with really short but max bursts, and it takes about 15 to 30 minutes for a workout. The moderate continuous is about 30 to 60 minutes for a workout, and that's kind of longer duration. And then about 30 to 45 minutes, even up to 60 with that moderate interval training. So one thing as we go through these, it's not a one shoe fit, or it's not just you pick one and that's what you do. And so looking at a lot of the studies, it's not studies on high intensity works better than the continuous training or the moderate continuous training. It's really a lot of the studies are, does it work better to just do the moderate intensity continuous training, or does it work better to put in high intensity training during the week? Vice versa. They're not studies on just high intensity doing that all week and then doing the continuous all week. It's doing high intensity and then mixing in some continuous, because you don't want to just get good at one. You want to still get that increased endurance, but you also still want to get the strength and the fat loss and all of the benefits from the others. So if you are looking at this, if you're in your very first beginning stages, I would recommend starting at the moderate interval training, but then working your way up to the continuous, but also while using certain days. You'll even see it in the user's guide. We've added high intensity and we've added moderate training, also continuous training in there. So make sure to kind of use both of them or all three of them as you're starting this process. So they're suitable for different goals. The high intensity is best for fat loss, improving strength and conditioning, and saving that time. The continuous training is ideal for building that cardiovascular and endurance that we had discussed before. And then the interval is a great balance for intensity and sustainability, but also for that joint concern if you are worried about your joints. So I want to go through one of my favorite products that we have. You can find it all over this. I'm going to go over, most people look at Sisel Sport as a pre-workout energy. drink. And although there is 190 milligrams, which does give you that really quick burst of energy, which is amazing for a workout, especially when you're lagging, if you do it really early in the morning, or even if you do it after work and you're tired from working all day. But I don't want to focus on the energy aspect of Sisel Sport right now. I want to talk about the other key ingredients that makes this a pre-workout that is way better than anything that you will see on the market. And so for this, we've added beta-alanine. This specifically reduces lactic acid buildup by increasing carnosine levels in your muscle, preventing the drop in pH. So what does that mean? So carnosine levels, they help buffer the hydrogen in, I don't want to get too sciencey, but basically they help drop the pH level in your muscles after a workout. And you get that lactic acid buildup when the lactate separates from the hydrogen, and then you are getting really acidic levels with all of the hydrogen in your muscles. And so that's where that lactic acid starts to build up in your muscles. And so beta-alanine has been specifically shown to reduce the lactic acid buildup. And so when you're doing all of these cardiovascular workouts, you feel really sore after, and this is designed, and that's because the lactic acid that's building up in your muscles after they've torn and worked out, and from what Thomas will talk about with lifting. And so by having the beta-alanine, then that's able to reduce that chance of lactic acid building up. Also, one that's very essential in the pre-workout is creatine. So this hasn't been directly linked to lactic acid buildup, but there's a lot of key factors in it that have been shown to reduce lactic acid buildup. So one first thing is it improves cellular hydration, which optimizes muscle protein synthesis, which I know Thomas's favorite product is going to talk a lot about that in just a little bit. But also it provides really quick energy for your muscle contractions, delaying the anaerobic metabolism. So anaerobic metabolism is when your body is using up energy without enough oxygen going to your muscles while you're working out. And so this is really before your muscles start pulling away from itself, the creatine is providing the energy. So you're able to kind of save your muscles from being used as energy during your workout. And then the key thing with this is you're going into anaerobic metabolism because you don't have enough oxygen going to your muscles as fast as it needs energy, which is really seen in those high intensity workouts. And so for that reason, we've added niacin, beetroot, amino acids like L-citrulline, and these are all designed to boost nitric oxide that helps better circulate all of the oxygen to your muscles and also helps all of the nutrient like the beta-alanine and the creatine to also deliver to those muscles. So not only are you getting energy from the Sisel Sport, but you're also getting ingredients that help reduce the lactic acid during your workout and make it where you're not as sore. But also we're providing the avenue to better have circulation to get those ingredients and oxygen and hydration to your muscles, which makes this an all-around pre-workout that is better than any other pre-workout in the market.
And it tastes great.
So on that, I'm going to pass the time to Thomas to talk about the importance of lifting.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about this because this is my favorite form of exercise. I would say I'm not great at cardio, but I get obsessed. And when I mean obsessed, I get obsessed with weightlifting. And there's so many studies out there on the benefits of it. And so often it's overlooked as a tool for weight loss because everybody always thinks, oh, well, I'm strength training. Oh, I'm lifting weights. I'm just going to put on mass. I'm going to gain weight. I'm not going to be able to slough it off. But there's so many different forms of lifting weights and so many benefits for lifting weights and strength training that you're able to capitalize on this magnificent tool on losing weight and protecting your body. So some of the things that we're going to go over, we're going to talk about improving your bone density, increasing strength and posture, functional fitness, and some long-term injury prevention by continually lifting weights and strength training. So some of the forms that we're going to be talking about I'm going to go to the next one because we're kind of running out of time, are, let's see, right here. We're going to be talking about the different forms of bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, functional training, and strength training for general fitness. And a lot of this coincides with time under tension. It's a pretty basic formula of, they call it TUT. Time under tension is what is going to lead to your overall goal of lifting weights. So if we talk about bodybuilding, a lot of people reference this as the great big jacked guys with the very chiseled muscles. And that's exactly what it is. That's very isolated focus on a muscle group or a specific muscle for definition, size, volume. Usually this is incorporated with really high amounts of reps and sets. So 8 to 12 to 15, but it's coming up with that calculator of time under tension, which you want to stress that muscle for anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds per set to really capitalize on that muscle group or that muscle movement. Then you have your power lifters. This is my personal favorite. I love the powerlifting aspect of doing squats and bench pressing and deadlifting, really focusing in on really low, slow reps, but really getting your heart rate elevated with really high weights. Well, what I get addicted to is adding more weight, where I always start off with the mindset, I'm going to get cut every single year. When I start my new weightlifting challenge, it starts, I'm going to get into that 8 to 15 rep range, and I'm going to really focus on really good, clean movements. And then as I start adding more weight, it's like, let's just add another 5 or 10 pounds. Let's see if I can just do with another 45 pounds on each side. And then all of a sudden, I'm back into the cycle of the powerlifting movements and the 5 reps and trying to put up as much possible weight as possible, because that's a lot of my body build. And a lot of figuring out with weightlifting is what's your build, what's your focus, and really what is your genetic makeup going to be constructive of. And over the years, I found that powerlifting for me personally is not only what I like, but it's what my body does best with while I'm lifting. And then you have the Olympic. This is a little bit more complex. This is really about the explosiveness. This is a lot about snatches and cleans and really elevated, intense movements that might seem odd in the gym, but they are really focused on that fast moving strength snatch movement lifting type. So this is going to be lower reps. It's going to be higher weight, but it's going to be really focused on explosiveness. A lot of athletes use this type of training. And then you have your functional training. Functional training, a lot of people consider CrossFit some of the functional training. This is for full body. This is going to be higher reps. This is going to be a lot of body weight type lifting exercise, or cables, or a lot of rubber band type movement. So this is a lot of more of the functional training is what people equate to lunges, and not as much to bench press, squats, and deadlifts. This is going to be more pull-ups and burpees and body weight type lifting exercises. And it's going to be a very much more broad range of lifting as well. And then you have your strength training for general fitness. A lot of this is actually linked to posture. It's to, mothers, they call it mother muscles, right? You start packing around kids and you get that
mother muscles now.
Yeah, so you start packing around a 15-pound weight around the house in your arms. But the functional strength fitness is really focused on strength, improving your health, and maintaining your muscle mass. This is a lot more of a maintenance. You can do compound lifts, which is squats, but this is going to be in that more mid-range of rep range, right? Where you have your power lifters, where are going to be the 1 to 5. You have your Olympic and your bodybuilders, they're going to be up into that 8 to 15. This is kind of more into that 5 to 8 to 10 rep range for overall fitness and weight loss. There's a lot of benefits to lifting, right? For beginners, these improve your foundational strengths. This helps improve posture. A lot of people don't really recognize that how horrible our posture is, especially in today's society where many of us sit at a desk for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours out of the day. And as we're hunched over, but also the enhances of the metabolism. Doing research into this, your metabolism post weightlifting session can range depending on, I know it's not fair, women, but men, it can range from anywhere from 14 to 20 hours post weightlifting session that your metabolism is increased. For women, it's about 8 to 12 hours. So I know it's not fair. My wife always says that you start thinking about losing weight and then it starts going off. But a lot of that is very true. Our genetic makeup is very different, but lifting weights and stressing and causing those muscles to grow is not only burning calories, but it's also boosting your metabolism for a much longer period of time. A lot of women don't want to increase their muscle mass. They don't want to get bulky, but for a lot of women, increasing your lean muscle mass and boosting your metabolism and just overall body composition is very motivating. It's very enhancing to your lifestyle as well. And for older adults, a lot of people think, I'm too old to be lifting weights, or I don't care to get bulky or strong. But a lot of it is to maintain your muscle mass. And like I said, when I've been talking about ripped, which we may or may not be giving away today, we'll think about it, which we are, to the few people that are on the call still. But no, your overall quality of your life can be determined by the quality of your muscles, right? Not mass, but quality of muscles. And by lifting, you're able to enhance that quality of life as well.
One thing that was kind of interesting for the aged adults, one of my friends that's a physical therapist, he has a lot of clients that are over the age of 50, 60. And he said that the number one thing over supplements and cardio and all of the things, he says, lift weights. He said building muscle around those joints and everything, he says they see the most benefits from it is lifting.
They protect your ligaments. They protect they can protect your joints. They protect so much of your bodily functions by continually trying to get stronger. But it doesn't have to be a lot of weight. It can be a little bit of weight. It doesn't have to be any weight. It could be just body weight, but just have the consistency to build those muscles will forever change your life. And I want to talk about my very favorite product always, which is Sisel Ripped. It's funny. I just barely pulled up an email from one of the researchers that he had sent me. And he says, guess what, Thomas, we're doing 2 more studies. And they just barely completed some. They are going to be focused around the lean muscle mass in fat reduction when you're taking Sisel Ripped, and the effects of resistance exercise and amino acid intakes on muscle quality. Also, we're in the process of trying to get some more patents. This is going to be in not only in the US, but in Japan, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and Korea. So there is continual research on Sisel Ripped. There's going to be well over 30 studies done by the end of the year on human clinical trials, and more money is being pumped into it. Why? Because people are seeing results. Whether you're exercising, whether you're lifting, whether you're doing cardio, just the enhanced muscle health is literally changing the lives of thousands of people. It's why Sisel Ripped has become one of our fastest moving products, one of our best selling products. People are experiencing 3 times greater anabolic response. All the time we talk about catabolic response versus anabolic response. Catabolic response is the stressor, right? It's the exercise, it's the movement. The anabolic response is the recovery. And so by enhancing that recovery time or shortening that recovery time, Ripped is able to help speed that up by 3 times. Plus, you're having a 3 times greater net gain on muscle protein synthesis. At the rate that the muscle recovers, it's happening 3 times faster. And then your overall muscle strength and quality have been greatly improved by consuming Ripped every single day. And so for us, we want to be able to give away not only a Sisel Ripped, but the people that are participating on this call, we're going to give away a Sisel Sport as well. We just barely made that through executive decision. A Ripped and a Sisel Sport are going to be going away with the people that have participated on today's call. And we hope that you find this information beneficial. Cardio and strength training, a lot of people overlook it and don't see the importance of it. And we have the products at Sisel to help enhance and shorten the recovery time, but enhance the lifestyle while you're stressing your body as well.
Awesome, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed this call. Like Thomas said, this is essential to a healthy body, to weight loss, to every aspect. And so also as an essential process, next week, we are going to be bringing on our father, Tom Jr., to talk about nutrition, but also to talk about his weight loss journey. I think he's close to over 70 pounds or close to 70 pounds that he has lost in the past year. And we want him to talk about how he's been using the new products, how he uses current products, and what his diet looks like, and kind of dive into what his process has looked like. And so if you want to join this call, that's going to be next week on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, the same time next week. And also, if ever you want to go back and listen to any of our calls, like we've talked about glucominish and trimogenic, we've talked about the SiselGUT Essentials. Milo was on last week for accountability partners, and we've done goal setting. You can call into the 6800 or 801-704-6800 and press option 3. You can listen to all of those, and all of these are uploaded onto YouTube. So feel free to go back and check those out and listen to this call, or share this call with anyone that you think would be interested in this information. So thank you, everybody, for hopping on the call.
Thank you. Make sure you're on the call for next week. We got more great giveaways and more great information.
Oh, yeah.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, everybody.